Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching ABC10 Plus this week. Governor Newsom maintains support for the controversial Delta Conveyance Project. Our To The Point team looks into the latest news. And in dollars and cents, worried about your 401k? I talk with a financial expert who recommends helpful tactics for retirement savers. Then we hit the back roads. John Bartel takes us to Rockland to explore a giant hole in the middle of the city known as Quarry Park. ABC 10 Plus this week starts right now. One area the governor is proposing to save money is from state workers' paychecks.
Yeah, the revised budget includes major cuts to payroll. ABC 10's Garjpal Sangha has a closer look at the growing concerns.
Governor Gavin Newsom wants to slash nearly $767 million in salaries and wages from the state workforce. One way to balance the budget.
The intent is really to avoid increased costs in the upcoming fiscal year, and is not to implement furloughs or PLPs or those type of things.
In his May revised budget proposal, the governor says the state hopes to reach those savings through collective bargaining. He also warns if no deal is reached with unions, cuts will be imposed. And that is not sitting well with state workers like Danica Dupatti.
It's very disappointing. It's already hard just day to day, just even coming into work.
Longtime state employee Corey Pruitt remembers the last time something like this happened.
Well, unfortunately, this is deja vu for me. I was here when Arnold Schwarzenegger did the same thing.
SEIU Local 1000, which represents nearly 100,000 state workers, is calling it a step backwards. In a statement to ABC 10, read in part, quote, "We are not here to help the state cut our pay. We'll fight to protect jobs, pay, and the services our communities rely on." The Union for California Correctional Officers say they are willing to work with the state, but only at the bargaining table, saying in a statement part, quote, "We remain committed to working closely with the administration to reach a responsible solutions." And the engineers' union PECG warns a deficit, whether real or projected, does not justify shortchanging essential professionals. A portion of their statement reads, "California has come through difficult budget times before, and PECG is confident we will again." Pruitt says state workers can't catch a break.
It's unfortunate because not only will they be making us make less money, but they're expecting us to come in even more.
Currently, negotiations are underway with 7 unions who have their contracts expiring this summer. Now, that proposed budget did say all negotiated health care coverage is expected to remain intact. Reporting from the state capitol, Garjpal Sangha, ABC 10.
Time now for dollars and cents. These past few months have seen some huge swings in the stock market, causing many people to panic about their 401ks. But while reacting emotionally can lead to poor financial decisions, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything. When it comes to growing your 401k, a Roseville-based financial expert I talked with says now is still a time ripe with opportunities.
This recent market dip is an opportunity to anybody who has a retirement account that they're contributing to. Because remember, when the market goes down, stocks are on sale.
These past few months, we've experienced some market volatility, and experts say it's perfectly normal to feel anxious during this time of flux. But Elizabeth Daphner, founder of Diligence Wealth Management, says if you're not retiring soon and time is on your side, putting money into the market can reap some benefits.
When you're adding money every month from your paycheck into those retirement accounts, you are going to make even more money when the market recovers.
This all comes as the U.S. economy shrank in the first quarter of 2025 for the first time in 3 years amid the Trump administration's tariffs and a slowdown in consumer spending. But experts like Daphner say, stay positive.
Elizabeth, you're saying now is a great time to increase your 401k?
Absolutely. Definitely. 100%. Increase it and be consistent about it. And don't worry, the market eventually will come back.
401ks are built for the long haul. Emotional reactions in the short term can do serious long-term damage to your retirement plans.
If you can, increase that 401k, increase that simple IRA contribution. Some people just set it and forget it. Don't do that.
Daphner says there's no set formula for how much someone should contribute to their retirement plan, but she recommends if you can afford to contribute more to your retirement fund now,
do it.
The longer that money can sit in the market is good for you.
But she says most people aren't saving enough for retirement, so she recommends save as much as you can, as consistently as you can.
But Daphne recommends don't invest money you would need in the near future, like if you plan to use that money in 1 to 2 years. For example, if you're planning to buy a house. Instead, Daphne recommends putting that money into a high-yield savings account. And the conversation doesn't end here. I have more stories to help you navigate this changing economy. You can stream Dollars and Cents on our free ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. Remember, your money questions have answers. Email me at lpainter@abc10.com. Tonight, groups are also opposing Governor Newsom's funding for the controversial Delta Conveyance Project, also known as the Delta Tunnel. The governor is proposing changes to ensure the project is completed. I want to go ahead and bring in ABC10's Jeannie Nguyen, who is here to break everything down for us. Jeannie, what can you tell us?
Alex, this project has been heavily criticized and the state has been sued multiple times. The governor is hoping to make this process more streamlined in order to complete this project, but those who oppose say the governor is wasting the state's time and money.
With the Delta Conveyance Project, which is in this budget and one of the most important projects in the United States of America and one of the most important climate adaptation projects in this country.
The Delta Conveyance Project is one of the state's most controversial projects, and on Wednesday, Governor Gavin Newsom reiterated his support for it in his Budget May revise announcement.
We have got to move that project forward.
The state wants to build one 45-mile tunnel under the Delta to reroute water. It's estimated to cost $20.1 billion. In the governor's proposed budget, he recommends streamlining the process by making the permit process easier, allowing the Department of Water Resources to have authority over funding, and making it easier to get through delays caused by lawsuits.
Inappropriately using the the California budget process to push forward and make policy changes that will have detrimental impacts on Delta communities and the environment.
Restore the Delta is a Stockton-based organization that has opposed the project for years and has active lawsuits against the state. The organization says the governor is ignoring how this would impact wildlife, conservation, and native tribes.
It's also writing a blank check to the Department of Water Resources to fund the construction of the Delta Conveyance Project, despite recent lawsuits.
On Thursday, lawmakers within the state's Delta caucus sent this letter to the Assembly and Senate, urging them to reject Newsom's proposal, saying it's, quote, costly and destructive.
I'm pretty angry. This is yet another attempt to railroad Stockton and the Central Valley.
Congressman Josh Harder, who represents portions of the San Joaquin Valley, agrees with state lawmakers, saying it will only waste the state's money, especially when we're currently facing a deficit.
This more than $20 billion boondoggle will not create a single gallon of new water for anybody.
And the Department of Water Resources tells me the governor's proposal would save billions of dollars by avoiding delays, and that the project would be funded solely by local public water agencies, not the state's general fund, Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. And we have streamed Governor Newsom's full budget announcement yesterday. You can watch it now on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app, and that app is free to download to your TV. The To The Point team went behind the gates of Folsom State Prison, not to talk about punishment, but possibility. One program is helping inmates grow from the inside out with classes, community service, and a focus on character that's changing lives behind bars.
Folsom State Prison. Though it's California's second oldest institution, there's a new sense of hope.
Thank you, Jesus.
Behind the walls and inside rooms like this,
that became my true freedom.
ABC10 got a rare look at inmates on a personal journey to rebuild themselves.
I started the Men of Character along with a dear friend of mine that was once a rival gang member.
The group Men of Character gives inmates a chance to rewrite their future with a simple but powerful question. How can we give back to the same community we once helped tear down? Established in 2019, the Men of Character connect with outside organizations, reaching those in need, from food drives to helping unhoused neighbors and providing backpacks for students.
It feels good to be able to help. For a long time, I spent not being that way.
The program holds meetings to discuss their lived experience, increase self-awareness, and address issues like
the unhealthy ways we deal with it, the toxic masculinity that our society perpetuates.
In these classes, we can hear stories of individuals that are on the same path. That has restored hope. And those are a lot of the things that we like to actually send out as a message in our workshops, is that you can actually find the hope in yourself.
And how to break down walls.
Being in prison for 12 years, I've never had relationships with outside of my race.
Prison is so segregated, just to be able to break those boundaries down is a powerful thing.
Through mentorship, outreach, and partnerships with local organizations, Men of Character became more than a program. It became a path to redemption.
It's really helped me to want to be a better person and want to give back. It feels good to have people look up to you and to, you know, have people be inspired.
That redemption on display as Men of Character members graduated from the program in February. By helping others, this group says they found a way to work on themselves. Perhaps the most important key they needed to unlocking their future potential was
restoring hope. You come in here with no hope, especially for those that don't see that they will ever get out. When you restore hope, you see guys actually doing more.
This program for me has made me hopeful about what happens getting out of here and even the culture inside of this place.
With the belief that change is possible.
In this class, it's called the ripple effect, right? We had to understand that the ripple effect of our crime had affected not just our primary victims, but a lot of secondary victims. I have to change that ripple effect. So by living morally correct, I can honor my family, honor my community, so that's my hope.
The Men of Character realizing they can't change their past.
I'm on my 30th year. I was incarcerated in '94 to a life sentence.
I've been incarcerated coming up on 10 years. I'm serving 29 to life for taking somebody's life, in which still is not enough time.
I've been in prison for 15 years already. I'm doing 30 years for voluntary manslaughter and attempted murder. I am in here for murdering an innocent man.
I've been incarcerated for 12 years now. I was sentenced to 2 counts of assault with a firearm.
I've been incarcerated 9 years. I'm serving a life sentence, 25 years of life.
I've been incarcerated for 8 years, a string of robberies, armed robberies.
While some are eligible for parole and others may never leave, they can make the decision to make tomorrow a better day.
I need to work on myself to make sure that I never hurt anybody else in any way.
Being given an opportunity to actually make a positive change inside of my community through the Men of Character, through their guidance, through their mentorship, it really gave me hope to make that positive change.
Once you make those wrong choices, there are some actions you can't take back. I don't want to ever be put in a situation where my actions not only damages someone else's life, but my own as well.
This Old Folsom is actually where I have discovered myself. It has taken a long journey, a painstaking journey, but I am here.
Men of Character members currently receive no formal credit for their participation. Their motivation is to grow, heal, and become better men.
About 30 miles south of Sacramento, tucked into the Delta, sits the historic town of Locke. Built in 1915, Locke is the last remaining rural Chinatown in America, according to the Locke Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to preserving the town's legacy.
My mother was born here, and this is Grandma's building. The bedroom used to be right here.
Corliss Lee grew up in Locke and nearby Walnut Grove, just a mile away.
Here I used to come and play after school.
Today, she's co-producer of a new documentary, Voices, Chinese Women of the Delta.
My mother came as a paper daughter.
The film grew out of an oral history project launched by the Locke Foundation, a mission to preserve the memories of those raised in the area.
Most of the time we had men's voices. And I thought, wait a minute, you know, something's really missing. And I thought about my own family, which really gave me the impetus of interviewing the women.
Bay Area filmmaker Min Zhao came on board, and the project became a documentary. Carol Lee, who also grew up in the Delta, was a major part of the project as well.
It was not a Chinese woman's world. It is a male-dominated culture, and so because of that, the Chinese women are marginalized. They aren't used to speaking out in public.
Producers interviewed nearly a dozen women who grew up here in Locke and in surrounding communities about their and their families' early memories of the Delta.
My mother was very, very special. I wouldn't call her a gentlewoman because she was powerful and empowered. She, during the war, was not Rosie the Riveter. She was a welder. She, not knowing any English, worked at the Mare Island shipyard.
Carol Lee's family later opened a grocery store in Walnut Grove, giving back to neighbors while working long hours.
That spirit of anything is possible, I never even realized it until I got older and went through life myself, what that all meant.
Everybody thinks that we're meek and mild, and I wanted to tell the truth about what they did. For example, my grandmother raised her daughters to be very independent. My mother, her father arranged a marriage for her. She told him, if you like him so much, you marry him. And I thought, that's not meek and mild. You know, she stood up for herself. And then my mother became a very successful businesswoman.
Lee's mother ran the family department store in Locke and then Walnut Grove.
This is the building, Lim Key's department store.
Lee says she felt empowered growing up in the Delta, which carried her through her adult life.
I became a home builder and developer in the Bay Area. Growing up here, we learned that there were no limitations.
Many of the women in the film followed similar paths, growing up in the Delta, going off to college and careers, and returning later in life, often to care for aging parents.
It's really important to water right now.
We met Daisy Ma as she volunteered at the WPA Rock Garden in Sacramento's Land Park, where she worked before retirement. She grew up in Walnut Grove, where her father was a barber and her mother raised 6 children.
She was really opinionated and forceful and hardworking.
Though she remembers the challenges of a language barrier.
A lot of women, like my mother, she never really was able to develop fully, I don't think, because she didn't know the language and there weren't programs to help her. I don't know, I really feel now for immigrants because I can see my parents struggle.
This is Locke, and this happened to be my brother-in-law's Chevrolet, 1938, I think.
Nidhi Young was born in Walnut Grove and moved to Locke when she was 3. Now 96, Young has stories of the women from her community, including her eventual mother-in-law.
Her family lived in Locke. She was one that went back to college when she was in her 40s.
Young's own mother ran the family restaurant and later worked in the Delta canneries.
So many of the women in Locke, especially my mother's generation, they were never seen. So for the women now to be recognized and acknowledged, I think that's important.
Young went to school and became a teacher and credits the strength and determination of the Chinese women of her mother's generation.
I think it influenced a lot of the women that were growing up to be a little more independent, because after high school, most of us left Locke to school, to work.
Some women say they experienced racism and prejudice.
It was kind of, like not obvious, but every now and then something would happen. And it was pretty ugly.
Daisy Ma describes an encounter when someone mistook her for Japanese and used an anti-Japanese slur. ABC10 spoke with everyone interviewed for this story about whether to include this, and they said it's an important anecdote to share to highlight what some in the community experienced.
I was maybe about 11. I went to the post office, and as I was leaving, another Caucasian woman was there, and something terrible must have happened, World War II or something, and so she, was calling me a Jap. And I don't think I took it I didn't cry or anything, I just was surprised. I wish I knew why she was so angry.
others say the all-Chinese community of Locke shielded them from prejudice.
I remember talking to my grandmother and I asked her if she ever experienced any racism. And she said no. The community was safe. It was all Chinese. There wasn't any racial discrimination or anything like that.
I'm mixing my dialect.
The documentary premiered in March at the California Museum with a discussion of the film afterward.
Thank you all for sharing your beautiful stories.
Co-producer Douglas Xia said time is of the essence.
The documentary is important because we noticed that the people who grew up in Locke, or the descendant of the prior residents of Locke, they are all into the age of 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
The history needs to be told, needs to be remembered. I think it's important that we keep the history going.
In Locke, Becca Habiger, ABC 10.
Behind Rockland's City Hall building, there's a massive hole in the ground, producing screams of terror on a daily basis. Instead of filling in this giant hole or fencing it off from the public, the city of Rockland turned it into a high-flying playground called Quarry Park Adventures.
We do get a lot of people saying that they used to sneak in and try and rock climb in there. So what I always say is like, well, we gave the people what they wanted.
Brandon Jacobs is general manager, and when it comes to zipline amusement parks, Brandon can confidently say that this is the largest and most elaborate rock quarry amusement park in the U.S.
It is, absolutely. We can 100% say that.
Now, the city of Rockland is in a unique position to have the largest rock quarry amusement park because Rockland has a lot of quarries, more specifically, granite quarries.
What were they using this rock for?
So this quarry in particular was used for the capital of the California.
The state capital?
Yeah, the state capital.
Now, there were dozens of quarries in the area, but the builders of the state capitol chose this quarry because the granite was high quality, and the quarry offered free shipping because it just so happened to be next to the railroad heading to Sacramento.
How long were they actually mining out of this quarry?
So they mined this quarry for about 160 years, and then finally stopped in 2002. And then permanently shut down productions in 2005.
When the quarry shut down, the hole left behind was 60 feet deep.
You did tighten this up tight, right?
Your harness?
Yeah.
Oh, you're all locked in. You got the best harnesser in all the land,
okay.
Let me tell you.
And if you want to feel how far down 60 feet is, take a leap of faith on the free fall experience. Yeehaw! There's one thing I learned on my visit to Quarry Park. You either enjoy the thrill of heights or you learn to get over your fear of heights.
Whoever built this bridge, man, needs to go back to school. Steady! Steady!
There's more than 5 acres of climbing and high-flying obstacles at Quarry Park, and you don't need any climbing experience. Now, if you're looking to get over your fear of heights quickly, I think the side-by-side zip line is the way to go.
Yeah, so it's just a little under 500 feet long, and so the average speed you go is somewhere around 20 to 25 miles an hour.
And because the zip lines are side by side, it's a great place to race your friends. The city of Rockland could have filled in or fenced off this massive hole, but if you ask me, building a giant adventure park was a much better choice.
From Quarry Park, I'm John Bartel. What's it to you on the back road?
Thank you so much for watching ABC 10 Plus this week. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic titles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.